Hey, hi. So we'll just start with our Java classes, Java course. Okay. So I hope you have installed everything like the Visual Studio Code or the JDK or the basic things, and we are ready to start to code. Okay. So assuming that, so we'll just begin our first class. And with that, I'll create my first file. Let's say the file name is as basic, and we are giving the extension as Java, as we are going to code in that. Okay, so yes. Okay, so by default, we get some code here, like public class basic. And here I'm going to write one more basic thing, that is public static void main. Okay, so presently, we did not focus on what this actually means. Once we go into class and object oops concept, that time this everything will make more sense for us. For time being, let's ignore whatever we have written. Like let's assume it is as by default code. Okay, so this type of code is also known as boiler code. Okay, which is present by default. Okay, so for us now, we are going to code it in this line. So whatever is there, right? In this space this is the base where we'll be going to code, right? So before starting to code, let's first try to understand how actually the Java works, how the Java programming actually runs. Okay, so for that, I'm just going to draw a simple diagram here. So for example, let's like you have already installed JDK, right? So inside JDK, there will be something called as Java environment, run environment, and inside the run environment, we have Java virtual machine. Okay, let me write all one by one. So here, this part is JDK. This is Java development kit. So these have some development tools which will help us to write the code. And here we have Java run environment. And here at last we have Java virtual machine. Okay, so how actually this process takes place and what makes Java a bit unique language compared to others. Okay, so the first step starts with writing the source code. Okay, here I am writing it as source code. Now, what is source code? Let me just increase my pen size. Okay, what is source code? Source code is nothing but the language which you are writing. So public class, so whatever language you write is known as source code. And this is saved with the extension as Java, .java. Okay, so which we did right now. We saved the file as .java. If you see basic.java. Okay, so from here, it goes to the next part, and in between there is a compiler which will compile this code. Okay, and what is the task of this compiler? The task of this compiler is to convert this Java file, that is .java file, into .class file. Okay, and this file is nothing but the bytecode. Okay, so initially we had source code. Now, with the help of compiler, what it did, it converted our Java code into a bytecode. And once we have this type of code, due to this reason itself, the Java is known as portable language. Okay, we'll just come to know why it's portable language. Let's complete this diagram first. And once we get our bytecode, it then transfers to the it's made into a native code with the help of just a second, native code with the help of Java virtual machine. So here we have JVM. Okay, now what is native code? Native code is nothing but 0 and 1. Okay, so machine, in actual sense, machine understands only the bit, that is nothing but 0 and 1. It doesn't understand anything that we have written. So there are few codes which converts our high level language. So this is a high level language which we write. Okay, it takes this high level language, it converts into bytecode and then into a native code. And native code can be different from different operating system. For example, for Windows, there may be a different native code. For Mac, it may be something different. And for, let's say, Linux, it will be converting something different. Okay, so the plus point for the Java here is that whenever we have written the source code, it converts into a bytecode. Okay, and once we have this bytecode, it will be saved in the form of which? Class. Okay, so now once you get this file, you can transfer it to any, like let's say Linux operating system or Mac, anywhere. And in that system, there will be a JVM present, which will convert into its native code. Okay, so that gives this like great plus point, so that it makes it a portable language. Okay, so I assume that you have understood how the actual Java runs place, like how the actual Java takes place, like the writing of the code takes place. And now let's try to code it. Okay, so I'll just clear my screen. So now okay. So as we have discussed about the how the actual Java runs, now let's try to code few stuff. Okay, so the first command which we'll see is system dot print system dot, so just a second, system dot out dot println. It is out dot print. Okay, so what is this code? So anything that you give inside this will be displayed in our terminal. Now, what is terminal? For time being, until we create our GUI applications, let's assume that whatever the terminal will be present here, which will be displayed just in few seconds. So this will be like an output. So this is where the user will interact. Okay, and this is where the programmers will write the code. Okay, so what is this used for? This is used for displaying anything that we want to display to our user in the output. Okay, so let's try to code it. So I'll write my first code, that is south. Sorry, so there is a shortcut for that system out println. So I'll just write south. And if I give you south print, inside this I'm giving, let's say, hello world. Okay, and if I run it, so if you see, the hello world should be displayed, as simple as that. So what happened with the help of this function? So this is a function which will display whatever is given inside that parenthesis. So inside this, we gave a hello world. Okay, similarly, if you want to display any number, you can do that same thing. So for number, I can give, let's say 1, 2, 3. And if I run it, you see 1, 2, 3 is displayed. Okay, but now you may have observed one issue, that is after hello world, the 1, 2, 3 is just adjacent to it. Okay, to make it in separate line, what we can do is we can use the slash symbol and we can say slash in. So why, like once we run now, if you see, it's displayed in a separate line, hello world, then a new line is getting printed, and in that 1, 2, 3 is there. You can follow this approach, or you can also duplicate it, and instead of saying slash n, there is a by default function name present as system.out println. Okay, so it's println and println. Okay, so if I run it now everything will be in a new line with the help of this ln function. Okay, so if I run it now, so if you see hello world, and after 1, 2, 3, why this hello world came here? Because for this, we didn't give any slash n. So for that reason, this both are in same line. Okay, so I hope it's clear. So as we have understood about this first function, basic function, we'll try to do some fun activity, like we'll just try to display a triangle with these commands. Okay, so how a triangle should be displayed, like just say for example, it should be displayed in this format. Okay, why specifically this? To try to understand a basic problem that we are going to face. So let's say I'm removing this and I'm saying south, 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 okay. And now in quotation, what I'll give is a straight line and a slash. Okay, so if you see, I'm trying to print this. In case if I try to do the opposite triangle, there won't be any error. If you see, there won't be any error, and I can just duplicate this and I can get my triangle. So I can do this. So I'll just remove delete under a straight line, and I can say underscore underscore and div. So if you see, the triangle is being present displayed here. But if I try to do it in opposite way, we are getting an error. Okay, so why we are getting an error? Because in Java, there is a special meaning for this slash symbol. Okay, so whenever you use this slash symbol, I hope it's a forward slash. So whenever you use this symbol, it always waits for the next command that is here. So like in previous example, we said when we write like this, it's going for printing for new line. It's going to a new line. Similarly, if you do slash d, it is nothing but it will give you 4 spaces, 4 blank spaces, something like that. Okay, so similarly, now what is happening when you say like this, when you try to print like this, it is waiting for some command and it gives an error. So if you want to print the same thing again, you have to give it a double symbol, double slash. Okay, so it applies for the same thing. So even if you say, for example, you want to print the book name with the quotation mark, and if you do like this, like let's say Harry Potter, okay, and you try to print there and you want this quotation mark in your statement, you have to use this slash symbol. Then only this will be printed or it won't be. Okay, so to understand that, we'll just try to do it once. So let me clear this thing, what I have written. I'll just remove this. I'll delete this. I'll again say enter. Go to the first line, say south, enter. And now I'm going to say straight line. And what is this symbol? Okay, and as I said, we require to this, then there won't be error. I'll duplicate this. And let me give a proper spacing. So 1 space, 2 space, 3 space. Okay, instead of space, what I can give here is underscore. Okay, and now I run this. You see, I get a correct triangle. Okay, now let's try to do one more thing. Let's try to print the book name, that is South. Let's say my favorite book is Harry Potter. So if I give like this, Harry Potter. Okay, so if you see, now we are getting an error. Why error? Because this symbol, which it is used now, it is considering this entire thing as one statement, and from here, it is expecting a comma. Okay, so for this, if you want to avoid this types of problem, you have to give the slash symbol. Okay, and if I try to run it now, you see, the symbol is present as it is. The quotation is present. Okay, so these were the few things that was required for your south command. So for your print statement. But one thing you have observed, like let's say I do this now. I just changed the quotation mark. So if I just change it to comma, like a single quotation, it will give me an error. Okay, so if you see, it gives me an error, invalid character. Or for example, what I can do is, let's say a simple, like even if I do a single and I try to put 2 values, AV, it's still giving me an error. Okay, so why this is giving an error? Because a single quotation mark is used for a character type of data. Okay, so this is used for what? Character. And this what we are giving, this is a string. Okay, so now what is character? What is string? So to understand that, we have to understand the data types in Java. So let's try to focus on that. Let me clear the screen. Let me delete this 2 line. Okay, clear screen. Okay, so in Java, there are mainly 2 types of data types, you can say. The main two branches are, first one is primitive, and the second one is non-primitive. Okay, non-primitive. Now, what is the difference between primitive and non-primitive? Primitive primitive type of data are the data which are already present in already defined in Java. So for example, let's say char, what we have again, boolean, byte, we have byte. Then we have, let's say, int comes inside this. We have float, we have long, and we have double. Okay, so basically there should be 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We just forgot one. Yes, the 8th one is short. So I'll just give it here at top. Short. Okay, now, and non-primitives are nothing but, like, let's say string. String is the non-primitive data. Then we have arrays. Then we have class. We have objects, and we have instance. Okay, so these are the non-primitive data. These are less focused now, as first we'll try to understand primitive and we'll do some calculation, some problems on them. And later stages, we'll focus on non-primitive. So basically, what is non-primitive? Non-primitive is the data which we are able to modify or we are able to define it, whereas the primitive are already defined. The structure is already defined for the primitive type of data. Clear? So let's try to focus on primitive type of data. In this primitive type of data, I just want to group it properly. So, okay, let me, okay, it's better to write it once again. So now I'll just focus on primitive data. So here I said type. So in first one, let's say I have byte and boolean. Okay. And in second place, I'm writing it as, let's say, char and short. Okay, you'll just get to know why I'm grouping them. In the third place, I'm saying int and let's say float. And at last, I have long and double. Okay, why did I group them? Because we just wanted to understand how much memory they are going to take first. Okay, why memory? Now, basically, the question is, like, if you come from any other programming languages, let's say Python. In Python, we just have these two things, like int and float and a normal string. We don't have like these many things. But in Java, we have like 8 defined, already defined. Why? Because this is something related to the memory usage. So each type of data have their particular memory usage, and it is very important to know which type of data occupies how much memory. So before understanding this memory usage, let's understand how much one byte takes. Let's say 0 and 1 is nothing but this we can consider as 1 bit. Okay, 0 as 1 bit, 1 as 1 bit. Clear? So when 8 bits, so 1 bit, 1 bit, 1 bit, like this, 8 bits will take, this will happen as what? 1 byte. Clear? So this is considered as 1 byte. So these two both, byte and boolean. So boolean is what? Boolean is nothing but true and false. Okay, let me write it here. The value as true and false. So these are the two values that boolean has. And byte is nothing but, here we have the values from somewhere ranging like 128 minus 128 to 127. Okay, even in this you are storing number, even in this you can store a number. But just the like how much memory space it is occupying, based on it is divided. Okay, so now these both will just take how much memory space? They will just take 1 byte. 1 byte, nothing but it will take 8 bits. Okay, now coming to char and short, these both are going to take how much? They are going to take 2 byte. Okay, so short again, char is nothing but it's just one letter like A, comma B, okay, or any capital letters, let's say capital A, capital B, or even a symbol, let's say at. Okay, this all comes under character. Okay, whereas short again, I'm not able to recall the exact number, but even here we have some range of numbers which we can store in this short. Okay, the main part which you have to keep focus on is the memory usage, because based on this there will be few problems, and the conversion is important. So this is most important, as even if this is okay if you remember, or it's like we can just ignore this, but you have to just know how many memory spaces each data type is taking place. Yeah. So let's go with our next one, that is int and float. So these both will take how many data? So this will take 4 byte of data. Okay. And whereas the last one, long and double, this is going to take 8 byte of data. So just like by the end of the class, you'll get like, we'll be having one more class where we'll see like why these datas are important to remember. And it's not that tough. You'll get to know when we are converting from one data to other data, these things you have to remember, like from which to which can be converted. Okay, so let me quickly tell you what is int also. So for int, any whole number, let's say 1, 2, 3. So these types of, or 200. So basically, I remember this. For this, the values range somewhere between minus 2 billion to plus 2 billion. Okay, and this should be a whole number, no decimal places involved here. Whereas in float, we have decimal places. We can say like 1, 2 decimal places in case you have to rate f. So 2.12 f we have to say. So this is float. A long is bit large than float, and a double is bit large than all these three. Okay, so in this sense, all the datas are classified. We mostly use int, then float, and then yeah, that's it. Like most of the time, frequently used are this, but few times you have to like convert into long and float based on the problem statement. Okay, and what is important? Important is this: byte and boolean takes 1 byte of space, char and short takes 2 byte of place, int and float takes 4 byte of place, long and double take 8 byte of place. Clear? So once you have understood this, now let's learn one more property of Java. The Java is also known as typed language. Why typed language? Because before creating any variable, you have to always mention a type. Like if you come again from Python background, you need not mention, like here you can simply create a variable like a equal to 8 or b equal to, let's say, hi. You can simply say like this. Okay. But in Java, you have to mention which type of data it is. So if it is 8, so you have to mention it int. It is b, you have to mention it string. Okay. So before every variable, you have to mention which type of data it is. Okay, clear. Now, before again going to having a practice on this, let's first explore what is variable. So here I have written something A, B. So what are this? So variable, like you can assume it as a box or a place where we can store any data. It can be a group of data or a single data. Okay, so let's say now here what I have said, the box name is A, and inside this what I am storing? I am storing the data 8. Okay, so variable like is similar, like I hope it's used in your math stuff also, where the values will keep on changing. So here you can again later update it to, let's say, 10. You can update it to 10. You can remove this and update to 10. So these all stuff can be done with the help of variable. So again, I'll repeat, variable is a place or a container where we can say, where we can store a single data or a group of data. Clear? So let's close this. So a lot of theory stuff, and let's do some practical stuff now. That is, let's try to create some variable. So let's say I'll create my first variable saying int, I'll say int a equal to, let's say, 10. Then I'll say my next variable, let's say int b equal to, and if you see the end like whenever you write any statement, the semicolon is important to end that statement. So here, if I see, I wrote a semicolon, then there is no error. Now this I have not yet completed, so I have to complete, let's say 15. And then, so what I did now, I created two variables. First variable is a. Inside this, a data 10 is stored. Second variable is b, inside which a data 15 is stored. Clear? So after this, I'm creating a third variable named as int sum. And in this, I'm storing the summation of a plus b. Closing. And now I'll just display south. That is nothing but I'm displaying. The sum is in next line, like plus sum. Okay, a simple sum problem we have done, like adding two numbers. And if I just run this, you should be able to see the sum is 25. Clear? So similarly, now let me store the other types of data also. Let me have, so what all we discussed int, then we discussed char. Char is for character, a single letter. So let's say char ch equal to a. Okay, so it should be just one character. Even if you give like ab, it will give you an error. Okay, because character is taking how much place. It is going to take 2 byte of place, and only one alphabet should be there. Like you can give a or this capital A, or you can give @ symbol. Everything is fine. Okay, then for next we discussed int, we already discussed. Then for float, let's say float f equal to 2.123 colon. Okay, so if you see here, it is still showing an error saying that type mismatch cannot convert from double to float. Okay, so if you see, we got an error here, like even if I run it, we'll get an error. So, okay, so basically this is the error where it says that you are converting double to float, which is not possible. Okay, why it is not possible and what is all this stuff, we'll just discuss in few minutes. So this comes under the topic as type conversion. Okay, so we'll just discuss that in just a moment. Before that, let's all complete this. So if you want this to have a float, you can simply see here 2.23 f. Now it is a float value. Okay, so let me close this 2.23 f. And for short, I can simply say dot equal to, let's say 10. Okay, I have to create a variable name s equal to, let's say 10. Oh, why it's not talking? Yes, okay, number 10. Okay, so similarly, you can have what all are left: short, long, double. Okay, you can just explore all of them. So for long, you can say L equal to 12. Okay, so in similar way, you can say long and short, all those things are there where we are simply creating what we are doing. We are creating the variables. And if you observe here, before creating any variable, we are specifying which type of data it is. Here's now this is a character. So we created a variable, but we also specified it is a like a character type of variable. Okay, why I'm stressing on this? Because few people who come from like other coding, like from Python and all, it's bit of new and they usually get confused here. Okay, so now once we have understood this, and we also did one problem where we added two numbers and stored it in a sum, and then we finally displayed it. Now let's discuss about type conversion. Okay, so what is basically type conversion? Type conversion is something that you are converting one type of data to another type of data. Okay, there are few steps, like few things to be noted. That first one is the whatever you are converting, that should be compatible. What do I mean by compatible is that you can't convert a string data into a integer data. Why? String is a completely set of characters, set of words, and that can't be converted, right? So you have to take the note of few such points. And second thing is you have to keep the memory usage in point, like how much memory each character is going to take place, like how much int data will take, how much float. So based on that, it is divided into two types. One is known as implicit type conversion, or we can also say this as widening, whereas the second type is known as explicit type of explicit conversion, and this is mentioned as narrowing. Okay, now how to remember this, how to understand, it's very basic, like simple thing. So for this, I'm again going to draw my chart of data types. That is, I have byte, I have boolean. Okay, then after this, what I had char, I had short. Then after this, what I had int and float. And after this, I have long and double. Okay, I'm just going to draw a few things so it's easy to remember. So for byte and boolean, what we had just one this, right, memory space, 1 byte. For character and short, what how many this we had 2 byte. Okay, so for short also there was 2 bytes. 2 byte of memory space was required. Okay, 1 byte is how much? 1 byte is how much? 1 byte is nothing but 8 bit. 8 bit. 1 bit is nothing but like 0 or 1. Okay, so similarly for int, how much it is? It is 1, 2, 3, and 4. For float also same, 1, 2, 3, 4. And for long, how much it is? It is 8 parts. So we have 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So similarly for double, it is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let's say this is, oh no, this is already 8. Okay, so why did I draw this? Because it's better to visualize. So whenever you are converting, let's say now boolean, we are going to ignore this part, as this doesn't comes under compatible. Okay, the other things are okay. When we can use char. Okay, char is possible because if we convert it to integer, the character a, it's something as 97. Okay, so this is possible. And so if we just ignore boolean, so what will happen now is that you are allowed to convert byte to character, or you are allowed to byte to convert to int, or you are allowed from float, or you can go from here to long or double. Okay, similarly for character short, you can always go whatever in this order. You can always go in down, like as they are increasing. Even in this, like if even this both are same, that is long and double both are same, but double has more weightage than the long. Okay, so you can convert from long to double, but if you want to convert from double to long, it's not possible directly from Java. Java doesn't allows it. So if you are converting in this, like what you are doing, from small thing you are going to big size of data, right? So what you are doing, you are widening it. Okay, so this is possible. So the Java doesn't give any error for this. So let's check it. Like here, I simply erase this all, and we can quickly check if it is working fine. So I'll remove this basic things. So what is this? Let me take int. Okay, int. let's say int a equal to I have 10. Okay, now I can say double b equal to a. Okay, and if I see, it is saying, let's see what is it. Okay, oh yeah. If you see, there is no error present now. If I just do south b, and if I run it, so if you see, let me clear my. So if you see, the output is what? 10.0 you can see. Okay, so it successfully allowed us to convert, like to store the int data into a double data. Okay, now let me close this. Let me try to do other things. So let me comment the above part, and now let me do the same thing, whereas now the int will be the double will be a equal to, let's say, 10.0 something colon, and then I'll say int b equal to a. And if I do now, so if you see now here itself, it gives us error. Before running itself, it pops us the error saying that type mismatch, cannot convert from double to int. Why we cannot convert? So if I just reload my this, we can't convert double to int. So we can't go the other way. Where is my this? Okay. So we can't convert in this way. So from double to int, what we are doing, we are going in reverse direction, right? So long to int or long to short. So if you are going in this way, this is not possible directly. With directly in sense implicitly, or it's not directly. Java doesn't allow it. So if you want to forcefully do it, then it comes under the category known as explicit. You are doing explicit type of conversion. And this is something called as narrowing. Why narrowing? Because it makes sense, because your long data is of 8 byte, but when you convert it into int, you are going to like have just 4 byte of data. Like basically what's happening here, you are losing your data. There will be some loss of data. Okay, so for this purpose, what they say, it's not possible. So if you want to still convert, then there is a way. What you have to simply say is you have to forcefully convert it by saying it int at the beginning. Okay, and if I do it now, so if you see now, there is no error. Okay, and if I run it now it will successfully convert. But what will happen? There will be a miss of some values. So for example, to show that, here I'll say 10.99. Okay, so 0.99, it may be a huge value for depending on the scenarios. Let's say if it is marks or something, then 0.9 has a huge weightage. In this case, if you do the int conversion, what will happen? This entire data will be lost. For example, if I run it, so you see, now it is still as 10, whereas the 0.99 has completely ignored. So in Java, there is nothing like rounding off. It will round to next value as 11, 12. So that is not going to happen. Here, when you say int, the entire float, whatever the value is there, it's completely removed. So from the 8 byte, it has come back to 4 byte of data. Clear? So I hope you have understood the type conversion. Okay, let me see if I have missed anything. Okay, so I forgot the main two parts. That is, the first one is the input itself. That is the first thing. And the second thing is what it is known as type promotion. Is it promotion? Yeah, promotion. So first, as we are doing type conversion itself, let's focus on type promotion itself. Where it is, let me clear this. So in type promotion, what it says that, in type promotion, what does it say that whatever are your basic data, like the small data, like char, or let's say, what is the next one? Short, or there was one more that is byte. Okay. whenever you are going to perform some calculations in between them, it will always convert it into an integer, and then it is going to perform a calculation. Okay, so for example, if I have char a, and if I have short, let's say 10, and if I have byte, let's say 1, and if I okay, and if I have this all variable name, I just forgot to miss, so let me write variable names here. Let's say a, here I'll write b and c, and if I just do south a plus b, b plus c, then what will happen? This will first convert it into a integer value, and then it is going to add. So now a will be converted. Let's say the integer value for this is 97. Then 10 is as it is, and 1. We have 1. So let's first try this. We have char, let's say a equal to, I store a in this. Now, okay, if you want to check the value, I can simply do south. I can simply do a. So it will display this, and if I run it, okay, so the value is not displayed. Cool. So when it converts to int, what we got to know from this? What we got to know from this is, if it just directly display it as a, then it is just going to display as it is, that is a. But if you are going to perform some calculations, then it is going to convert it into an integer. So for example, here I'll say, let's say byte equal to b equal to, let's say I have 10. And here I will do a plus b. Colon. And if I run it, and now if you see, now I got the value as 107. That is nothing but 97 plus 10, which gives us 107. Okay, it didn't use a plus 10. It took the value of a. Okay. Similarly, like even if I use the what is the one more thing? Short. Let's do this as c equal to 3, and end the line. And if I do here plus c, and if I run it, you should be able to see the value as 110. Clear? So what we got to know, whenever there is any equation in between what? In between this char short byte, whenever there is some equation, then it is always going to do what? It is going to convert into int, and then display the result or store the result. Okay, so this is the first part. Similarly, for the big data, that is nothing but long double float. Okay, it will depend on which type of data you are using, and it will come to according to that. So if you have long, like double, and let's say float, okay, most probably like whichever is being the, now here if it is double, like double is highest, right? So it will automatically convert into double, and then your equation, your calculation will be performed. Okay, so same thing as how you have seen here. Okay, so now even like if before saving it here, I can also save this in a variables just to show you. So let's say now in this, which is long, short is greatest, right? So if I also try to store it in short, I can say, let's say s equal to this. It will give me still an error. Why? The type mismatch cannot convert from int to short. Okay, because as we discussed before, like these are basically converting into integer, and then we have to store it. So you have to basically make this as int, then there will be no error. Or else if you want still it in short, then you have to do the explicit conversion by mentioning here as short. What will happen if you do explicit conversion? It will, you may lose some data. But apart from that, it is possible to do like this. And what we'll do, whatever is the S, we'll just display it here. And once we do this, and if I run it, it will work as smooth. Clear? Okay, cool. So we just discussed what? We discussed the first starting, we discussed the print, like first of all, how the Java program runs. Then apart from that, we displayed how to display anything in the terminal. Then we discussed about the data types, primitive and non-primitive. Based on that, and we focused much on primitive data types, understanding how much memory space it occupies. Then we shifted, like we moved our focus on variable. From there, we came where after variables, what we did, we converted one type of data to other type of data. And at last, for today's section, what we'll do is we'll try to display, like we'll try to take the input. Okay, so this is like whatever you are seeing this terminal, imagine this as an application. Once in future, you will be creating an application where you will be interacting. The users will be interacting, right? So this is the place where user will enter anything, and this data, you have to take it in your application. So to take that, we basically say input. Okay, so in Java, what we do, we have a class named as scanner class, which will help us to take these data, these inputs into our program. Okay, so for that, I'll just write like this, scanner. So basically, most of them follow the SC convention, or you can also mention it as input. This is nothing but you are creating an object. Now, what is class object, that we'll discuss again in future classes in groups. But for time being, you can just follow this code, new scanner. And here I'll say it as system dot, I have to say system dot in. Okay, and after saying that, so what I have done is I have used a class. So if you see, when this is a class here, basic. Similarly, there is a class written somewhere inside this Java's memory, we can say, from where I'm importing the data, importing this class SC. What is the use of this? I'm importing the class scanner, and I'm creating the object SC of that. Okay, why I'm creating? Because this will help us to take the input. Let's see how it will take. If you have not yet understood this, it's completely fine. Once we learn this class and objects class oops concept, it will be you'll understand this smoothly. Yeah. So basically, I want to, let's say, take the input as integer. So I'll create a variable as int a equal to, and for that, next what I'll do, SC. That is my object name SC. You can also, for time being, call it as a variable dot. I'll do next. So if you see, when I say next, I get bunch of values. So here we have next in, next byte, next short, next big decimal, and all this stuff. So based on your requirement, whatever you want, you have to take. So now I have mentioned my variable is int, right? So I'm going to take the int. So next int, and I'm just going to close this. And if I just do south A, okay. And if I run it, so if you see, it is asking for number. Let me enter the number as 22. And if I click enter, so it displayed 22 once again. Why? Because we have a print statement here. Similarly, we have, let's do few more example on this. Let's say we want string data, string, let's say string b equal to, now again, I will call using the sc dot next. Okay. If I, let's see if what will happen if I just use next. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to print b. Okay. And cannot be resolved to a type. Oh, string. Okay, so the S was small there. Now it's correct. Now what I'm doing is I'll just comment this first line, and now if I run it, so the usage of this next is that if there is any blank space in your sentence, it is always going to take just first word. For example, let me write here Shri spacebar can't, like something. I just gave a spacebar, and if I click enter, if you see, it just takes the first value. Okay, in case if you want the entire thing, whatever I have written, then I have to use the next line. Now, once you use the next line, then you can use like either one word or the entire sentence. It depends on like whatever you give. Okay, let's see why there is a error. Next line is undefined. Oh, is it? Next. Oh, it's capital L. Okay, next line. And if I run it now, and I can display any message. Hi, how are you? And if you see, it's displayed as hi, how are you? Okay. Here. So going forward, we'll be using this a lot of times. We did not worry. And this will be like after a few more classes, this will be in your fingertips. You will be not even thinking which type of data we have to write and all. It's just at initial stages, it may feel a bit frictional, but as we move forward, this is easy. Okay, so yeah, that's it for today's class. Hope you have a great day. Okay, chalo, bye.